Give me a sec to sort it out. Yeah, everything looks all good. It's just, do you think it'll be a bit off-putting having like the stream up, but seeing like us lagging behind what we're actually saying? What do you mean for you? Like, as in for everyone? Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess for you because you're having the stream open. But even like when you change the slide, won't the slide be like different to what they're saying? But what they're like seeing, sorry. Yeah, no. So what I mean is like when I'm talking about MMIs, like at the start of MMIs, they might still be looking at the SSI part of the PowerPoint and hearing my SSI stuff. Like, won't it just be a bit off-putting? No, I'll know when you finish because won't we be on a call together? So so like as in like right now, right? We're on a Skype call together, and so I can hear exactly what you're saying in real time. But the face I'm looking at of you on the YouTube stream is lagging like 10 seconds behind what we're actually saying. Meaning that what they see we'll have said 10 seconds ago, which is just a bit strange for us to look at. And so I mean, okay, yeah, okay, that's fair. All right. I mean, I guess you can't really do much about it, so it is what it is. We'll just so so we're gonna make the stream's gonna be unlisted, correct? And we'll just send them link or something like that. Yeah, but oh, there we go. Now I see both of our faces on the stream. I can only hear through the Skype. I'm listening to the Skype audio, not the YouTube audio. Wait, real quick. My thing that like I don't know, it does this weird thing where when I'm on either like Skype or Zoom, I can't listen to any other audio except the Skype or Zoom audio. Yeah, I think you'll have to because I just like I muted and I still I couldn't hear us.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. So say testing, 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, I can't. What'd you say?
Just say testing, 1, 2, 3 real quick for me.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. You are my angel baby. Did that work? Wait, real quick. My thing that like I don't know, it does this weird thing where when I'm on either does this weird thing where when I'm on either everything all good, brother. To any other
But
audio
why?
except the Skype or Zoom
But
audio.
why?
Yeah, I think you'll have to, because it just like I muted and I still I couldn't hear us. Sorry, I can't. What'd you say?
Bro, what the fuck? My audio doesn't work. What the hell? Wait.
What do you wait?
Does
Does my audio work?
Yeah, your audio works fine, but mine doesn't. Hmm.
Why? Wait, can we just get Paul to like test it real quick and like just to hop on our stream and just like we do it as normal and see what he says?
Yep. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Let me just send him a message.
Holy fuck, I actually can't hear myself. What the heck?
I sent Paul the stream link. Hopefully he sees my message and hops on.
Yeah. Why isn't it putting through my song as well? What the heck is going on? I need to watch the stream on my mobile, otherwise I get like confused between when you're talking like to me real time and when you're talking to me on stream. Confusing. Testing, testing.
Is your audio still
Yeah, it's still
being
nice.
sus?
Still nice. OBS registers audio, but live stream doesn't. I have no clue why. I'm actually gonna cry. Testing, testing. Real quick, can you say something again?
Yes, sir. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Yes, sir. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
It's really quiet. What the hell? Maybe. Hello, hello. Oh my god, it's because I'm really quiet. Oh my
No way, was it actually?
Oh, I don't believe this shit. Okay, wait. Just
You
is it?
absolute. Hello.
Oh, no wonder. Yeah, your one's just so much louder than my one. That's why I didn't even realize my one was so quiet.
Is it just because I'm speaking louder?
Perhaps.
Or,
But I don't think it should make that much of a difference. I don't know why mine's so quiet. I just need to check this out. Like,
I mean, you sound quiet in my ear as well right now.
oh really?
You were a bit louder like before, but now
Is it because of the Skype thing? I don't know. It's just.
maybe it's just because you're not projecting your voice enough, Matthew. Maybe you just need to stand up straight or sit up straight and puff your chest out. Project.
No! I
Oh,
still
bro.
don't
That,
get anywhere close to how loud you are on the dB scale, so it's clearly something to do with my mic. Okay, sick. It's set at 3. That's why. Hello. Hello. Why is it still not loud? What the? Pause. Testing, testing. Still quiet. God, bro. It's just so frustrating. Testing, testing.
oh, that was so much louder in my ear.
Really? Wait, but
And you
I
just.
didn't even. Oh, I don't know. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Still quiet. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. No, it's still quiet. Fucking kill this. I hate it when shit just doesn't work. Oh, maybe it's because Skype is adjusting my volume. This mother. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. How's that? Is that louder?
Not particularly.
Testing, testing. You know what? I'm just gonna boost my decibels in my mic.
Just make it 300, bro. 300. You can never go wrong with 300. Has the number 300 ever screwed anyone over? No. 300.
Yours is going to the red end. I will say that. Like,
What can I say?
I'm gonna put a cap on your volume, bro. I'm gonna put it at 20.
Whoa. That's a bit rude. It's a bit racist, even. It's a bit racist and rude. How dare you?
Oh my god, my mic thing is already at like max decibels and it's still not loud enough. God. Would it be NDI? I can't even increase the volume, bro. I'm just confused. So frustrating. Maybe I have to talk very close to the mic and remove this pop filter. Just literally like keep the mic over the bed.
Or I don't know what you're saying right now because, like, I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
But is it still quiet?
Oh no, now it's like you're so much clearer. I can actually like make out what you're saying.
Okay, my guess is I'm probably gonna have to use my earphone mic if it has one. Let me just see if it does have one. I'm hoping it does. Okay, sick, it doesn't. Fucking excellent. Testing, testing.
Oh, so much better.
But see, the thing is, I'm literally like right next to my microphone, and that's like not ideal because how's it now? Is it like still really loud?
Yeah, wait, say something.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
It's calm, like it's much better than it was before.
Okay. But I just don't know why it's like not the way it should be, you know? Which means I literally like, thank you, Mom. Appreciate it. Is there red bean paste inside it?
Hmm?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I literally have to eat my mic to really make my point.
That's all right.
Okay. Well, at least I can hear myself now. I'll cap myself at 20 as well. Okay.
Do you not have a mic built into your headphones?
No, not this one. It doesn't.
That makes a lot of sense because I think my mic is like somewhere in my headphones. It's just close enough to my mouth, like somewhere in my headphones. It's just close enough to my mouth, like
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
somewhere in my headphones. It's just close enough to my mouth, like
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
somewhere.
Cool.
I could hear that.
Yep. Okay, beautiful. All right. Oh, finally, we're on to. Okay, cool. Sorry for the wait.
All good well.
Okay. Um. Okay, so in our Q&A, like, are you looking at the stream right now? You can have it
Yep.
muted,
Why?
but like.
My stream audio doesn't work while I'm on a Skype call.
Ah, right. Okay. So wait. Yes. Yeah. Sure. What the heck? Why is it not full screen? There we go.
We should probably say somewhere that they should go. Wait, no, mind. I see. Wait, the slide went back to the not Mentimeter slide.
Oh no, sorry, I was just adjusting it.
So there's going to be a bit of a lag between like when they or when we ask them to ask questions, and yeah, which is going to be a bit awkward.
Yeah, just a tiny bit of lag, but I think that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Fuck, my OCD's getting to me, man. It's like, why can't these just transform, fit to screen?
You're covering my whole screen.
Sorry.
Why?
You know what? Fuck it. We won't have our faces here. Can't be asked. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, how's this?
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So PowerPoint, and then all I gotta do is just and then we gooch. Wait, what the? Oh, I gotta remember to click that. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. We gooch.
So
Mm-hmm.
there will be a live chat, and so I assume people will be talking in the live chat.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to ask questions effectively, we should use Menti, because then it'll be displayed on the screen.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let me just get my other laptop so I can actually look at my script. This will be the pre-stream, like, thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm considering actually moving my camera to a different angle because if I'm gonna be looking at the laptop screen, like
Hmm.
I may as well move it so that the camera's like right above my laptop screen. You know what I mean?
I don't think it really matters, to be honest. You don't need to be like looking directly at the camera. I
Like
think that would
this?
be a.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me wait 10 seconds. There we go.
Oh my god, the lag. But yeah. Yeah, it's going.
I was just gonna say I don't think it matters too much.
Okay, sounds good. And my volume's still coming through fine, right? In your Skype?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Should probably email myself the script as well. So that But yeah, you can. I'll put your slide on so you can start like just. Uh,
I'm only gonna partially script, as in I think I'm gonna try my best to not look at a script for the most part.
yeah. That's kind of what I wanted to as well, but at the moment I haven't like sort of memorized it yet.
All right, if you want to have one run through,
Yeah,
I'd be pretty keen
yeah, I'm ready.
because then I can uh, get ready for my DL meeting.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just take it away, bro. Like
Okay.
I'm just gonna see how this goes. I'm just gonna test this one, like this run through out without much of a script, like isn't without looking at what I wrote at all, and just hoping that the cues on the PowerPoint are enough. If I end up uh stuttering quite a bit, then I'll just use the script next time.
Okay. Cool.
I reckon we can have another practice tomorrow as well. We
Yeah.
can just do one run through now
Yeah.
and then another one tomorrow.
Okay. Sure. And we're gonna be muted on Skype, right? Because otherwise, wait. Should I mute you on Skype?
I can't hear you anymore.
Oh shit. Okay. It's because I stepped away from the microphone just a tiny bit. Okay. All right. So
Bro, go back to eating your mic. I can barely hear you again.
how about now? How about now?
I mean, now you're normal.
Okay, well, I'm literally projecting my voice like so loud in order to get this volume. Okay, but anyways, um, so thank you very much, guys, for coming to our medical interviews seminar today. My name is Matthew, and we have Mukund here with us as well. And should we say like where we go to university?
Um, yeah, if you want.
Okay, well, we're both currently in the double degree medical program at University of Sydney, and we wanted to share with you some of the sort of tips and things that we went through in the year, in the past year, that we thought were very valuable for you to know about going into your interviews in the next couple of months. So here's some of the things that we're going to be learning today. I think first of all, it's really important to understand what the purpose of medical interviews are and why they're being run. And then we're going to talk about that age-old question, which is why medicine? And usually it's one of the most difficult ones Then Mukund will run through some of the SSI and MMI example questions just to get you familiar with the different types of interviews that you might come across. Then we'll go through a game plan to see, what are the steps you're going to take now to structure your approach to preparing for your interview in the next month or so. And finally, we can have a Q&A where you guys can go on the Mentimeter. You can see that on the right-hand side of the screen as well. There's a code there, and you can just leave your questions, and we'll get to them at the end of the seminar. And you can upvote the questions that you're interested in, and we'll answer those in that order of most upvoted to least upvoted. Okay, cool. So first of all, let's think about why medical schools run these medical interviews in the first place. You have to sort of step into the shoes of your interviewer, and that will give you a good idea of the overall direction that you want to take your answers and the way you want to present your experiences. And having spoken with a practicing doctor and people who have been on medical school interview panels, we've narrowed down some of the things that they do want to know and also some of the things that they don't want to know. So first of all, they want to get to know the type of person that you are, right? So your morals, what you value, your attitudes, your social intelligence, and ultimately what your motivation is being here. In essence, they're trying to understand why you're really here, and they want to know whether your personality traits are suited towards becoming a doctor. And whilst there isn't such thing as a correct personality per se, the interviewer is really looking for a way to see, that you can sell yourself. So you want to paint yourself in the best possible light, within reason, of course. And aside from just having the right people in the field dealing with, oftentimes very vulnerable people, the screening process is also a way for medical programs that invest lots of resources, obviously, into training doctors. They want to make sure that you'll be able to finish the medical school program and overcome all the challenges associated with it. Obviously, you're going to be spending a lot of time studying. There'll be quite a bit of stress, and you need to be aware of that and how to manage it. And also, they want to know if you have a very resilient character, right? And finally, another important point is they want to know what kind of doctor you'll become. And that's because the role of a doctor is sort of moving towards this idea of a bridge in the gap between science and society. So medicine is more than just knowledge about diseases and illnesses. You ultimately are tasked with interpreting the feelings and emotions of human beings in moments of fear, anxiety, and doubt. So you can't really do that effectively without considering cultural, socioeconomic, and family backgrounds. And that's why the interviewer will also try to determine your cultural sensitivity, for example, your awareness of indigenous healthcare, and also your awareness of contemporary healthcare issues, such as the significant gap between the medical facility equipment available between rural and metropolitan areas. And more generally, whether you'll just become an advocate for healthcare in your community in the future. Now, as much as it is important to know about what they do want to know about you as a person, it's also important to know what they sort of don't want to hear about in the interviews. And you can sort of break that down into two sort of main points. Firstly, academics will rarely be a relevant topic to bring up unless you are specifically asked about it or it's relevant to a significant experience that you've had. And the reason is because, getting an interview is a serious achievement. And the fact that you are at this interview means that you already did well academically and in the UCAT. And that means that academics ultimately is irrelevant now because it doesn't help to build your case in the sense that you're not building upon what the interviewer already knows about you. So ultimately, you want to showcase the side of you that is not sufficiently portrayed by the two numbers, your ATAR and your UCAT, or, your WAM. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that one of the biggest mistakes you can make is listing all of your achievements. I'm not saying that you can't talk about your achievements at all, I'm saying that they should not be talked about without context and, just presented as the primary point of your answer. This goes for extracurriculars as well. Like volunteering at an aged care home is pretty admirable, but interviewers are more interested in the experiences you've had during your participation in those extracurriculars, and how that may have shaped the way that you perceive people and society in general. So, for example, let's say you were a prefect and you say, I was a prefect and I, participated in leadership. Now, it doesn't really say anything about you as an individual, right? Because there were, 26 prefects or something in every school and about 800 high schools. So it's what you did during this position, particular memories or anecdotes of experiences that helped you grow as an individual, right? That's what they're interested in. And Mukund will come back to this concept of anecdotes when he talks about specific interview questions in the panel and MMI. Okay, so now that we have an idea of the overall goal, let's quickly look at the two different interview formats. There's SSI Panel and there's MMI. Mukund will cover the specifics of each interview format and also example questions later, but essentially an SSI or semi-structured interview consists of a panel where you have anywhere between 1 to 3 people, and they're mainly asking you personal questions. And then MMI is a multi-mini interview where there can be anywhere between 6 to 10 sort of stations, and each of those stations has a different interviewer, and mainly it's focused on testing, soft skills such as emotional intelligence and potentially even critical thinking. So, given how many interviews are going to be held online, obviously no one is, 100% certain of how these interviews are going to work except for the universities themselves. But that being said, considering what they want to know about each candidate doesn't change, despite it being online, the general format and the type of preparation that you should do stays the same. So, the only small changes might be more to do with something like, for example, instead of physically separate rooms, you might have, breakout rooms, virtual breakout rooms in a Zoom conference meeting or something. So now that we've looked at this, let's start talking about one of the toughest questions in any medicine interview that you're almost 100% going to be asked about, and that is, why medicine, right? 2 words. And it's possibly the toughest opponent that you're going to face in your entire interview. So your typical answer might say something like, I want to help people, or, this was my calling, my natural calling. And on the surface, that might seem fine, but let's take a look at a path to being a doctor, and you might be able to see why a practicing physician who is, on the other side of this interview, who's interviewing you, is probably going to think that that's very, superficial and shallow. So in terms of a pathway to a clinician, let's say hypothetically, you pass the interview, you enter medical school, that's 4 to 7 years, and then you do an internship, that's another year of hospital rotations, and then you do a residency, that's 1 to 2 years of rotations, and then you do vocational training, that's another 3 to 4 years, depending on the program that you enter and the specialty you choose. And then in the end, you end up becoming a qualified GP. And that in total is around 13 years. And that is more than half the time that I've been alive. So it seems like an awful lot of trouble to go to just to help people. So if that really was your only motivation, right, there are plenty of other occupations that also help others in society. Don't need to necessarily become a doctor. So in that sense, a justification for why you want to spend the next 13 odd years of your life preparing for this career has to come from somewhere deeper, right? The reason may not become immediately apparent to you right now, and it probably won't become apparent in a week or even 2 weeks, right? But that's what makes it important. You need to really reflect on the part of this career that draws you to it, not just for this interview, but so that, 4 to 5 years down the road in medical school, when you're studying in those really early hours, and you ask yourself why you committed to this career in the first place, you're going to have an answer for yourself. So let's see how you might do this reflection and this step-by-step process to getting your answer to why medicine. So first of all, you have to think about what you value, right? What your beliefs are, what your values are, and what your motivations are. And that could be something like, fulfillment in seeing other people's happiness. It could be a desire to seek challenges. It could be enjoying the camaraderie and teamwork. Everyone's different, right? And you need to think about impactful experiences and events that have really defined these values and beliefs and motivations that you thought about yourself earlier. And the reason why you need to pick impactful events and experiences is because typically there'll be some strong emotions associated with them. And being able to reflect on how these events with strong emotions attached to them have, shaped your perception of the world shows that you have a certain degree of emotional maturity. And it's a very convincing argument, right? Particularly, practically speaking, you might choose maybe one or two personal anecdotes that showcase your particular strengths or aspects of your character, and the traits and qualities that you want to bring up should lean towards things you would expect in a doctor and something that you can relate easily to medicine, because that's going to be important in our next step. Okay, so the first step is think about values, beliefs, and motivations, and think about impactful experiences with strong emotions attached to them that link to those values, beliefs, and motivations. And then the next step is to show that these values and beliefs and motivations, as well as the experiences, have naturally guided you towards a medical profession. In other words, how you align with the medical profession, what aspects of the career fit your values, beliefs, and motivations. And in regards to this, doing research about the healthcare career is extremely important, because this means you can, put what you're talking about in a context that is going to be relatable to the interviewer. And this might mean, you might draw experience from, current medical students that you talk to, potentially even drawing experience from work experience that you did in year 10. Maybe even if you can talk to your local GP, have a short conversation about, their past experience in medical school and moving through the whole process. That's going to give you a lot of ideas of what you can potentially talk about in your why medicine, and how you can link your values, beliefs, and motivations to this career. So the reason why you need this context is because it's really obvious when people haven't done their research about this career. And the message that sends to the interviewer, if you haven't done your research, is that this person has made a brash decision to just go for this medicine career without thinking carefully about the pros and cons and why they're really here. And so instead, what you want to show them is that you've made an informed decision, right? You've carefully considered what the career entails, the fact that, there are definitely cons to this career, the fact that, you're going to have less personal time. You might be at a higher stress level. You're going to have larger workloads, potentially less family time. These are all things that you have to show that you've considered, and showing that you're making this informed decision really produces a much more convincing argument to the person on the other side of that interviewer. Okay, so if I can summarize this step-by-step approach in one sentence, it would be that it is how your values, beliefs, and motivations align with aspects of the medical profession. So always keep that in mind when you're sort of thinking about how you're going to approach this question, and you'll find that you'll usually end up with a fairly decent answer. So now that we've seen, how you might get to your personal answer, let's talk about some of the things that you want to avoid when you're reaching a particular structure of your answer. So here are some pitfalls that you don't want to be mentioning inside your answer. The first one is giving off this impression that you had a sudden interest in medicine. Almost all the time, you should be framing this as a gradual decision. And the reason why is because, think about it this way, right? Average Commonwealth supported place costs about $12,000 per annum, and the average degree length is 6 years. So that means that's $72,000 worth of, education fees, right? And that's almost a deposit on a property. So if you're thinking as a first home buyer, would you, drop 72K in a heartbeat just like that? You probably wouldn't, right? And so that decision should be a gradual decision. And so much like deciding to invest in your future education, you should also have had this decision been made over a long period of time as opposed to just, on whim, right? So that's the reason why you shouldn't give off this impression of a sudden interest in medicine. The second thing is mentioning money or status in your answer at any point. Because these are ultimately very short-term motivations that almost never sort of sustain someone's drive, especially when the going gets tough, right? So not only are they inappropriate justifications, ethically and morally, they're illogical because they're not going to push you through the last, or the 13 years that we talked about earlier, right? They're not going to push you through the whole of the 13 years. And in fact, if your motivation was really about money, then there are plenty of professions that pay much better than just being a doctor that you could potentially pursue that would not take 13 years of training, right? So it doesn't really make sense. The third one is using cliches. We've sort of already talked about this, but using cliches such as "it's my calling" or "I want to help people," right? Because this sort of answer is very shallow and it doesn't say much about who you are as an individual. You can imagine that likely 20, 30 people walking through that door that the interviewer has already seen has said that exact same thing, and it doesn't differentiate you in any way, right? Now, this doesn't mean that it can't be a part of your answer. It's just that it can't form the only part or the basis of your answer, right? Your answer has to be more deeply rooted in your personal, or I guess I could say your personality, as opposed to just there's something as shallow as that. Okay, and the fourth thing that is another pitfall is giving the impression that you think medicine is all sunshine and rainbows, right? Every career has its flaws, and medicine is no different. And I've already spoke about some of the flaws that medicine has, and you need to sort of show that you're aware of these things and that was factored into your decision when you chose to try for this profession and this career. Okay, so now that we've talked about some of the pitfalls, let's have a look at what is an example of a bad answer. I remember a few years ago, my grandmother was very sick. We were at hospital for quite some time, and I talked with a few doctors. It was at that very moment then that I knew I wanted to be a doctor in order to help people who were feeling sick. I'm also super interested in sciences, so that along with the fact that it also seems like a well-respected and well-paid position, affirmed to me that medicine is what I want to pursue. I guess my parents have always told me that it's a good career path to follow, so it's a win-win. Now, a couple of things in there that has potential, right? For example, this story that about the grandma being very sick. I'm sure that there were a lot of heartfelt emotions attached to that story, but given the very crude nature in which this answer was put together, that emotion is not being communicated between the person that is answering and the interviewer. Like, if you think about if you were an interviewer, you wouldn't be able to connect with that answer in any way, right? And in the same sense, towards the end, when they mention the fact that their parents have told them that it's a good career path, that kind of reasoning is not strong enough, right? That's not going to sustain you for 13 years. Your motivation has to come from you, not from what your parents want you to do, right? And so that's ultimately also not a good sort of, I guess, position to take when you're structuring your answer. Now, this idea of being super interested in sciences, that's actually something that does have potential. You can talk about the fact that you enjoy that medicine has the potential to be very challenging and integrate many sort of aspects of biology, physics, and chemistry, all of that, and you've sort of always enjoyed that kind of thing in high school as well, and you're eager to see how that plays out, in this medicine degree, that has potential, right? But in this case, the candidate, the imaginary candidate here, hasn't portrayed it in a way that's convincing, and also that sudden decision of wanting to become a doctor is also not very convincing either. So you can see there's a couple things here that have potential, but the answer overall is very poor. Okay, so for obvious reasons, I'm not going to sort of talk about what I think a good answer is. And the reason why is because as each individual, you'll have a different story. You'll have a different answer. And so for me to come out here and say an answer that I think is good is going to put a cage around your potential story or how you can approach this question, right? The idea of this is just to give you a framework, but not to cage you in any sort of structure that you can't sort of be very flexible about. So that's the reason why we're not going to be talking about a good answer.
Wait, real quick,
Yeah.
bro. Don't we in our book? Don't we have a good answer? Like, isn't that like one of the?
Wait, like as in like a SSI good answer?
No. Isn't like a good answer for YMed? I'm pretty sure we had a good answer, or like a good model answer in our book, right? So maybe we shouldn't say that specific
Right. Yeah.
part about like.
So what do I say? Like, okay, so this is an example of a poor answer. Boom, and I just ended there.
Well,
actually, you know what? I'll talk
say...
about I had an answer, except I just didn't know if I wanted to talk about it or not. But I guess I'll talk.
Or you could say that in our book, we go into depth. We have a few exemplars for like actual, good answers, or like ways you could a way that or not a way that someone could go about it, but just like an example of a way to convey like those sorts of emotions and stuff. But the number one thing is to make it personalized, and all that. I just thought it was a good time to mention the book as opposed to say that we're not going to provide it to you.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Sort of thing. Because it just doesn't make sense if then we go and say the book has this example.
You know what? I'm just going to talk about what I had planned, and then I'll just present my as one example of a good, because I wrote up another one.
Are you sure you want? Wait, is it the same?
No, it's different. It's different. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say so this is my interpretation of what a good answer might look like. It's not the only correct answer, but something like this could potentially be a good way to sort of answer this question. So for me, I'd always known that whatever career I chose, the purpose that it would serve in my life is to bring a sense of fulfillment. And I think that's because I've always found that I tended to do really well in the things that I genuinely enjoyed. Okay. So during work experience I had at a cardiological clinic, there was an instance where a patient had come in and she was obviously very visibly anxious, and she was unsure about a bit of swelling in her calves. And the way that the cardiologist just, sat them down and explained to them what was happening and discussed with them the different treatment possibilities, and the sheer sense of relief that was kind of emanating from that patient, I think that moment really resonated with me. And I realized that in my career, I wanted this ability to genuinely bring a sense of security to people in their most vulnerable moment. And I began seriously considering a career in medicine. And I started to talk to medical students about their thoughts. And they told me that it was definitely a very challenging process. They said that there was a lot of heavy, it was a very content-heavy degree. But they also told me about their exciting moments when they went to hospital placements and they had to apply what they learned pretty much straight away to problem solve and do this kind of problem-based learning. And I think that extra aspect of constantly meeting new challenges combined with this, idea of just really being able to be the source of that sense of security for people together, I think, is what really sealed the deal for me, and that's why I'm here today.
Beautiful.
How was that? Does that feel like?
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
overall, that was basically 30 minutes on the dot. Like,
Uh huh.
I
Uh
monitored
huh.
the
Uh huh.
time,
I can definitely
which
draw
is
it out a
quite
little
solid.
bit. Like,
I honestly, I don't think it needed to be longer. I think that was like pretty perfect.
okay.
I'm just thinking, like, not gonna lie,
Mm-hmm.
like either like, because I don't know how long mine is gonna
Mm-hmm.
take,
I can time it for
right?
you.
And yeah, the thing is, I probably don't have the time to go through a full run through now
Yeah. Sure.
because that was longer than expected, and DL is gonna happen
Yep.
soon. So I'll probably have to do either after DL or tomorrow morning. Doesn't
Yeah.
really
Sure.
matter. But after that, I think I might also have to beef up my script a little bit because yours was like, it was pretty seamless. It was pretty seamless. So it was quite nice. I don't know if you noticed, but I got Kevin to come on the stream as well, and he told me everything was running smoothly. Um, he 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 told me that or like, what, just something to point out, like, he apparently at the start when I wasn't muted, he could hear my breathing on the stream a little bit. So I muted for the rest of it, like after from the point he told me, and he said everything was fine. After that, he said the PowerPoint was well designed.